Do y'all ever think about how expensive racism is? When I looked into it, let me tell you what I found. If we enacted policy that effectively got rid of racism, we could save $2.62 trillion. Let me break it down. Right now, the U.S. has a deficit of $1.3 trillion. But we could flip that into a surplus by eliminating racism in the following areas. First up, productivity. A study by the Institute for Women's Policy Research estimated that if we eliminated racial and gender wage gaps, the economy could see an increase of $2.3 trillion in GDP annually. Up next, let's talk healthcare. The American Public Health Association estimated that racial disparities cost the U.S. about $93 billion annually due to inadequate access to care and poor health outcomes. And what about the criminal justice system? The NAACP estimates that mass incarceration costs the U.S. economy around $182 billion annually. Up next, education. The Alliance for Excellent Education estimated that each student that drops out of high school represents a loss of about $260,000 in potential earnings over their lifetime. They also found that if the U.S. were to cut the high school dropout rate for students of color in half, it would generate $45 billion in increased annual earnings. Add all those figures up, and it costs the U.S. $2.62 trillion to be racist. This includes loss in productivity, healthcare costs, the criminal justice system, and education disparities. That's a huge amount of money that we could be saving and putting into other things. So, if we tackled racism head on, we could turn that $1.3 trillion deficit into a $1.3 trillion surplus. Imagine what we could achieve as a nation if we actually work together. Now, this was a thought experiment powered by ChatGPT, so these figures are only rough estimates. But I think what makes this experiment worthwhile is the conversations that it can generate. Let's start having the conversations so we can move on to actionable steps. So what do you think about the cost of racism? Let me know in the comments.